There's no bigger danger to Trump's supporters than Donald Trump himself. Need proof of that? Here you go. Remember Trump's meme coin that he launched just days before he took office back in January? Remember all of those headlines about how big the profits were that the traders were making, with one wallet even reportedly earning up to $109 million in just 2 days? Yeah, about that. Since those headlines and viral posts, it turns out that the vast majority of Trump supporters who got in on the action weren't so lucky. According to the New York Times, there have been over $2 billion in losses among more than 810,000 wallets. And yet, despite those losses, the Trump family and their partners gained nearly $100 million in trading fees. But you know what they say, millions in profits for me, billions in losses for thee. This cash grab is so blatant that it's now raising serious concerns among financial regulators and watchdogs who are warning about the speculative dangers of meme coins and the potential for pump and dump schemes, where early buyers inflate the price of a token and then sell off their holdings, leaving later investors with massive losses because something working class champion. And just wait, because it gets even more blatantly corrupt. Trump is now specifically appointing financial regulators who might roll back protections for victims for these same types of pump and dump schemes that he just used to swindle his own gullible supporters, all while shielding his own family from accountability. Meaning not only would he be engaging in potential illegality, but he's also getting rid of the cops who would be in place to root it out. And Trump knows full well that he doesn't want to be asked about this or faced with questions because of how blatantly corrupt it is. Here's how he reacted when a reporter finally did pose the question.
Crypto coin the other day, do you intend to continue selling products that benefit yourself personally while you're president?
Well, I don't know if it benefited. I don't know where it is. I don't know much about it other than I launched it. I heard it was very successful. I haven't checked it. Where is it today?
Hey, you made a lot of money, sir.
How much?
Several $1 billion, it seems like, in the last several days.
He doesn't know if he benefited. Right. Yeah, no. Totally. And let's just be abundantly clear about what this is all about. Yes, of course, it's about Trump making money off the backs of his own supporters, but there is a reason that he's using crypto in this way. And it's expressly because crypto investments are opaque enough that we don't know who is sending all of this money to line Trump's pockets. For all we know, Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin could be funding this meme coin, ensuring that Trump makes money while doing the bidding of foreign dictators. Or maybe it's Elon Musk, which might explain why Trump has spent the first weeks of his presidency handing over the entire federal government to him and making him the de facto president. I mean, just look at Elon Musk answering questions while Trump sits in the background like a good little boy, having fully ceded his power to Elon. Have you ever known Trump to be someone who would be willing to allow a visual like this of him being so submissive and silent? The point is, we don't know who is funding this meme coin or how it's impacting Trump's policymaking decisions. There is zero transparency, zero disclosures, zero sense of accountability to the American voters who Trump is ostensibly in office to represent. It's just about the most naked form of corruption that you could possibly imagine. Now, all of that would be enough to show where Trump's priorities really lie, but the corruption gets even worse, because while Trump and his inner circle are stiffing MAGA, they're also gutting the very agencies that are tasked with protecting us consumers from predatory banks and fraudsters. Here's Elon Musk, for example, bragging about targeting the CFPB, writing CFPB RIP. What's the CFPB? It's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which was established after the 2008 Great Recession and is tasked with protecting consumers from unfair financial practices. Since its inception, the agency's provided over $21 billion in consumer relief to 205 million people. Under President Biden, it imposed a staggering $3.2 billion in fines on companies, the same companies that are now chomping at the bit to get back into the game of screwing over the little guy. And now, Shadow President Musk put the architect of Project 2025, Russ Vought, in charge of the CFPB, and he's already cut off funding and paused CFPB operations. This led to the removal of the Bureau's homepage, replaced with a 404 error message. Here's what Elizabeth Warren, who helped come up with the concept of the agency, had to say.
So let's talk about Elon Musk for just a minute. Elon Musk, as you know, he bought Twitter, and he's just lost money hand over fist on that investment. So he's had a better idea, better from his perspective, and that is he's going to do X money. And the idea here is he's going to be everything on the financial side and social side for everybody in the country, maybe around the world if he gets the chance. There's just one bump in the way, and that's the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It's not that they say no, You can go ahead and build a new tech platform, a financial system. Good for you. But you've got to follow the basic rules of not cheating people, not lying to people, and not sucking up their personal data and selling it to somebody else.
Yeah.
He doesn't like that. So he's announced he's going to do X. What a great idea. Move the bump out of the way before you start. You know, it's a little like a bank robber saying, oh, before I go into the lobby with my sacks that I'm ready to fill up, I'm just going to fire the cops.
Yeah.
And now I'll go in and take the money.
Elon has come out and said that he wants the funding for the rest of the year, roughly $710 million for the rest of 2025's funding, for that to be rescinded as a way to kind of starve the agency of the funding it needs to keep operating. Obviously, the purse strings are controlled by Congress, even though we've seen Republicans contract all of their autonomy over to the executive branch. But where do we stand right now in terms of his ability, or the Trump administration's ability, to be able to legally starve funding of the agency and kind of kill it that way?
So let's do a little good news, right? I know right now we're having to do a lot of bad news. One of the pieces of good news is actually the agency has a surplus right now. So it's got some gas in the tank to keep running. But the second part of this is that we built this agency, like all of the banking regulators, outside the reach of congressional funding. Again, it's all in the law. If we can get the courts to enforce the law, the agency will have the money it needs.
Do you have any worry that even if the courts do opt to enforce the law, that it'll be discarded, ignored by the Trumps and Elons of the world?
Okay, now you really are in constitutional crisis, right? Because as you know, we have 3 equal branches in government, and Congress gets to initiate these laws and write them up. President signs them into law, and then is supposed to carry them out. And the courts make sure that the administration behaves legally. I mean, that's just kind of the basic deal. If Donald Trump decides, or if Elon Musk decides, I'm not doing it, I'm not obeying a court order, now you haven't just violated the trust of the American people, you literally have broken the Constitution. So that's what's at stake here.
I don't see how it could get more anti-middle class than all of this. Donald Trump isn't a populist or a champion for workers. He's a grifter, a liar, and he's handed our entire federal government over to a billionaire who's focused on consolidating more money, more power, and more influence for himself. No matter how much Republicans try to distract you with some shiny new culture war or whatever made-up nonsense they come up with about condoms in Gaza, the Republican Party is the party of tax cuts for billionaires, all at the expense of your Social Security and Medicare. And if you're working class American, you should never forget this. It's not going to change no matter how much they try to change the packaging. When they show you who they are, believe them. Before you go, just a quick note, if you'd like to see more of my content, which is always free of advertising, sponsorships, and paywalls, please make sure to subscribe to this channel using the subscribe button right here on the screen. And if you'd like to support my work even further, you can grab a copy of my instant #1 New York Times selling book, Shameless, available for sale right now. That link is also on the screen. Thanks so much for watching.